If I had to name one person who I think has been the most influential in the world of silver and that just truly gets it, hands down, I would say David Morgan. I've been following him for many years, and he really has just pushed the envelope in the world of silver. Now, he is from the Morgan Report. His nickname is literally the Silver Guru. He even wrote the letter to Elon Musk urging him to buy silver. Well, he posted an article on August 24th, 2020, titled "The Great Silver Crisis is Incoming." Now, when you say something to this degree, it's not talking about immediate. He's just talking about in the next 5 to 10 years, and he hits the nail on the head with the same type of stuff that I talk about. That's also why I idolize him, because he's another person that really has brought the silver shortage to light to the degree that people need to know, because it is highly underlooked. So let's jump into this article. Let's look at what he's got to say, and most of all, let's talk silver. Now, David Morgan has never been shy to share his bullishness for silver prices, but he backs it up with good points and good arguments that make sense. Context matters. A lot of people can say outlandish things, but they're not backing it up. They're just saying it and not saying why. That doesn't hold much weight, and that's why a lot of people agree with and follow David Morgan for those reasons. Now, listen to this. This article is so good, and you're about to see why I agree with him so much. And he is spot on. I mean, spot on with what I talk about on a daily basis on this channel. He goes, "I said this back in 2002. For the record, I will state there will be another more frenzied scramble which will carry silver prices to highs that will repair all the excess paper money creation, price suppression, supply deficit, and bearish sentiment over the past 2 decades. This will become known as the Great Silver Crisis." I wrote that when silver was valued at $5. Today, there is a great deal of buying pressure throughout the sector, not only in the retail market, which these huge premiums currently are, but also in the commercial bar category, which would primarily be in silver ETFs. Moreover, Sprott Asset Management, one of Canada's top mining industry investment firms, has put a shelf filing for $1.5 billion, which would represent something near 80 million ounces of 3/9 fine silver in commercial bar form. To put it simply, there's a lot of buying pressure in both silver and gold markets right now. But it's also likely we're now entering a great silver crisis. What does that mean? Listen to this. Well, the way I would define it is the great silver crisis is truly verified when commercial bar category is bought for industrial use and they panic. Consider this. What if Apple decides they can't make 5G phones because they don't have enough silver? Who does that sound like? Doesn't that remind you of someone? Actually, didn't that guy just make a video last night talking about Elon Musk not having enough silver to make Teslas, or about Joe Biden with the green energy revolution, or how there's not enough silver to make solar panels, and what if they have to put that to a halt? Who was that guy? Oh yeah, wasn't his name like Silver Slayer or something? Yeah, you could see why I relate with him so much, because he also brings up the same points that I do. There's not enough silver for the entire world to go green. There just is not. Keeps on going. What happens if it takes too long to acquire the silver they need to stay in business? Would they have to resort to shutting down a production line until they could get silver? Kind of like the US Mint had to shut down the production of 2022 Morgan and silver peace dollars because, and I quote, "a lack of silver." Right? We're just starting to see the beginning situations happen. It's going to take, 5 years for us to get deep in it when it's going to reflect upon the price of silver. But right now, we're starting to see the things start to trickle in. Would they have to resort to shutting down a production line until they could get silver? I mean, if the situation were to occur, it wouldn't be long after this, and when this trend spills over to Mitsubishi, then the electric vehicle market, and ultimately the entire electronic manufacturing industry. That's what I talk about on a daily basis on this channel, literally. So if the industrial part of the silver market, which is 60%, panics into buying silver because the silver market's drying up, must essentially warehouse silver in fear of an impending shortage, which would virtually take them out of business, that would be the great indicator of the great silver crisis in my eyes. How close are we to that? We're not that close yet, but we're getting closer. And that's what I always talk about, right? A lot of people, when I talk about a silver shortage, they'll be like, I can still buy silver on APMEX. There's no shortage. That's not how it works. Right now, there is a silver shortage. And if you want proof, ask me or tell me why you're having to pay $40 to $45 for an American Eagle. That's not normal. That's because there's a shortage. Low supply, high demand. That's the definition of a shortage. Low supply, high demand. You want to know the first rule of investing? Buy low, sell high. You want to know another thing? Low supply, high demand shoots the price up. Low supply, high demand shoots the price up. That's why you see these crazy premiums right now. Gold isn't scarce. That's why there's no premiums on gold. It's not that there's no silver to buy on APMEX. You can still buy it, but that's why it's overpriced, is because there's a shortage. But that's just the beginning, like he's saying. I say triple-digit silver by the year 2026, because that's when we'll be deep into the shortage, when these companies are going to start panicking, because they'll finally realize that. They don't know now that the silver shortage is that serious. But by then, because every automobile company by the year 2030 is going to be electric, by then they're going to start to realize it. I mean, think about it. Like the green energy, revolution is just now starting. By 2026, we'll be deep into it, right? That's when we're going to realize this stuff. So demand for silver for industrial use is gaining traction and has been since the turn of the century. In 2000, the amount of demand for industrial production was only 35% of the total market, and we were only mining around 550 million ounces of silver. Today, it's at 60% of the total market, and we mine 850 million ounces of silver on an annual basis. With this increase in volume, production has also ramped up within the same time frame. Think about it. If we had steady mining activity and only 550 million ounces of silver were mined today, almost 100% of it would be used for industrial purposes. The demand for silver as an investment is very strong now. When that spills over into industry, it's not going to increase mining as there is waning of silver mining due to the crisis, right? It's not just, the industrial sector, but the investment sector is also setting record highs. Everyone wants a slice of the silver pie, but that pie is almost empty, right? There's not much pie left. So the U.S. Mint sold 5 million ounces the first month of January. We're talking about a lot of silver. The U.S. Mint selling out of silver since 2020 when this article was written, hence why he also mentions the premiums. That's right when premiums started. Everyone wants silver, not just you and I, but the big business as well, right? Everyone does, industrial sector and the investment sector. Gold is mainly for the investment sector. Gold is mainly used for jewelry, necklaces, earrings. What happens when investors take up the silver supply and there isn't any left for manufacturers to make their final product, right? Would production increase? Imagine he's the one that wrote the letter to Elon Musk urging him to buy silver, because if Elon isn't buying silver right now, he has to pay, or one, he's not going to be able to find it, and two, if he does find it, he's going to have to pay insanely high prices. And Mike Maloney actually wrote a letter to Elon Musk as well, doing the math for him. He mentions, by 2036 or something, or he would have to pay, instead buying silver at $20 would be $786 million. But if he waits till silver's triple digits, it'll be $3.14 billion that he's going to have to pay if he doesn't get in right now. Stuff like that. And Elon's just a mascot. Think of all the other companies. Like Elon, that would happen to him. But think about we're advancing into a new digital technological era. Like this would hurt the entire world on a much bigger scale than just Elon Musk. And not just talking about cost of production going up. We're talking about production non-existent. But anyways, he talks about when they have to make their final product, when there isn't enough silver readily available to produce refrigerator. That's what I was just talking about. I haven't read this yet. When there is no final product, right? there isn't enough silver to produce refrigerators, toasters, or any smart technology device for that matter. Man, and think about it. Silver is saving the planet. The green energy revolution or whatever, that's making the world go green because of global warming, climate change. But if we don't have enough silver to make these solar panels or these EVs, the earth is literally depending upon silver. I mean, that's a really scary thought, but that also really shows when people realize that. Imagine what the price will be. Manufacturers of these products rely on a just-in-time inventory where they'll typically think there's an infinite supply of production materials, all except for silver. This continued practice has proven ineffective by Ford Motor Company and palladium market, but you already know how my take on that. And yes, look at palladium now. Palladium is sitting at $2,286. I remember when, man, like let's look at the palladium. This is palladium. Let's look at like the year today. Let's look at like the 1 year all-time chart, right? We're talking about 2018. This is March 2017. Palladium was $700. In 2016, it was $554, and then it got up to $3,000. And that's because of what David Morgan literally just said. They thought there was an infinite supply. Then all of a sudden, as palladium is used for those catalytic converters and stuff, what happened? Bam. There's two sides to every gold. Or wait, yeah. So now he goes on to gold. I'm not gonna really talk too much into this. If you want, I'll post the link to this article. But he does go on more into silver right here. So let's look into this real quick. So he goes into the key price for silver is $26. That's where the price is held 3 times technically after the 2011 high. And then he goes, finally, we're back up over that level. So what now? There's a point in the Keynesian economics where you can stimulate the economy by printing money, and it works for a while. Then there's a point where you could just print and print. It doesn't work anymore. Well, we've reached that point. And then he mentions the more you print, the worse it gets, right? That's quantitative easing. This is the ending thing I wanted to talk about. If you look at the metrics we used in 1980, where food, energy, the two things human need most to survive, were not taken out of the CPI, we would have much more honest calculation than we would today. Then it becomes simple math. Shows you $50 silver in 1980 is $600 silver right now, 40 years later. Think about it. A $50 bill you held in 2011 wouldn't buy you anything relative to what it cost you in 1980. Let me emphasize that $50 was a one-day event, but if we look at the average price of silver in 1980, it was $20 per ounce. Means it was more than 300% higher than its highest price it had reached in January of the previous year. So, you know, it is very good points that he makes if you now realize why he's called the silver guru and why I say he's the most influential that's just spot on that gets it. I'm sure now you realize why. So I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you want to see the video I posted last night, kind of talking what he mentions about Elon Musk and, you know, the whole industrial sector and how big of a disaster it's going to be from the silver shortage, highly recommend you go check that out. It's my latest video. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you enjoyed this video, if you thought it was educational, informational, at least entertaining, make sure to hit the like button. I post daily videos. Thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.